Good evening, everybody. Here we are for UFC 319. We have had some changes in this card recently, just to let you know. Unfortunately, one of my favorite fights, Brian Battle versus Rizibov, has been canceled. Brian Battle missed weight by 4 pounds. I was really going to be targeting that fight on significant strike props. It was going to be one of my favorite significant strike props on the entire card. And we also lost the King Green fight yesterday. So unfortunately, those are two fights that we are now down. But we're still at 13 fights for the card, or I think 12 fights for the card, sorry. One of them I will not be touching base on, and that is the Contender Series final, Morales versus Idris, or whatever his name is. I don't really know a lot about them. Idris is a minus 400 favorite. I mean, I do think he wins. More than likely, it's going to go over. I believe the over started out at like a plus 150, and now it's down to like a minus 110 or something like that. So there's been a lot of money coming in on the over, anyways. But it's a fight that I don't have any interest in targeting. Like I've been saying the last couple of weeks, I'm trying to get more and more just into things that I feel really good about. Not betting, not putting my hard-earned money on things where I say to myself, well, this might happen. I want to be fairly confident in something that's going to happen. So my plays are really selective this week. I don't have a lot of them. I but I like to put out this video so that I can tell you what I'm thinking at least. And let's start off the night. We got Silva versus Barboza. They actually fought in 2018 or 19. Barboza beat her. But I think it's going to be the opposite. I think they're both very comparable on the feet. They both can bring a high pressure style, striking on the feet. But I think on the mat, I think Silva is a little bit better. And I think her jiu-jitsu is better than Barbosa's jiu-jitsu. So I'm looking for Silva to wrestle a little bit here. If it's on the feet, it really could be a 50-50 fight. But I'm looking for Silva to get the win here. I have zero money on this fight. I don't really have much interest in putting money down on it. I do lean the over. I am using the over 1.5 as a parlay piece in one of my parlays. And I'll pull that up at the end for you. I've got 3 parlays this week. I got three parlays, and I did have 2 singles. I was going to have 3 singles with the battle, but I ended up adding a single also. And that is in the second fight. We've got Barboza. Shit, it didn't work. Barboza versus Close. I don't know why, but it's not. This is weird. Nothing is popping up. There we go. We got Barboza versus Close. This is going to be a pretty close fight. If Close can wrestle, that's his pathway to victory. But on the feet, I think Close is going to be a little bit better. I think he's going to be the minute winner. I think he's going to be a little bit more higher volume. I think he's going to win a fairly close contested decision. And one of my wagers is on this fight. I forgot to do a banner for it like I normally do. And it's fight to ending unanimous Unanimous decision at a plus 120. Man, I don't know what's gotten into me. A little sleepy, tired right now for some reason. Sorry about that. And then our next fight is one of my favorite fights of the night: Hooper versus Hernandez. Hernandez can grapple a little bit, but Hooper is just going to be so much better, and his jiu-jitsu is just so much better. He's just so smooth on the mat. He's going to be like a step ahead of Hernandez. Before Hernandez knows what's happening, he might be in a submission for all we know. And his technique on the mat is so much better. Also, it's just light years ahead of Hernandez. So as long as Hooper avoids Hernandez' big shot on the feet, then I see him taking it to the mat and getting a submission at some point. I'm using Hooper sub/decision as a parlay piece. It's a minus 195 on FanDuel. I'm using that as a parlay. If you've got DraftKings, I don't mind going over a half a round and on the money line as a parlay. And I got that in a parlay that I will also pull up at the end. Next, we've got Jessica Andrade versus Lupi Godinez. And this is a fight where I decided at the last second to add a single. I just like the value so much. And my single is going to be more of a fade on Jessica than anything else. At this point of her career, it's like, what's left? How much does she really care? I don't know. I mean, she's been getting finished quite a bit lately. She's still dangerous on the feet. I'll give her that. She could still do some damage on the feet, but Lupi has never been finished, and I don't see her getting finished here either. I look for Lupi to put on her wrestling shoes and get 2 to 3 takedowns and beat up on Andrade for 3 rounds on the mat. I could also see her getting a finish. I'm definitely not playing the over because it's a minus 330. But the one thing I am going to put like a half a unit on is one of these. I don't care which one. I mean, I might just take a shot with the plus 300 one. Minus 3.5 is a plus 175. That basically means she could lose. Minus 3.5 is a 170. I had to think for a second here. She could win 30-27 on one card and 29-28 on two, and that would be a minus 4, I believe, if I'm adding right. Or actually, that would be a minus 5. So yes, she would clear the minus 3.5. A minus 7.5, she would have to win 30-27 on all 3 judges' scorecards or get a finish. So obviously the minus 3.5 is a little bit better. Sorry, I had to actually use my brain there for a second, and it's not very good today. So I really like that a lot. It's just a sprinkle, probably like a half a unit at the most, just for something fun to do. It's more of a fade of Andrade than anything else, because I just don't know where she's at in her career. And so, but I'm only doing it as a sprinkle because of that. So, and then our next fight, we got Meerschaert versus Michael Alajaychuk. This is a tough one because if Meerschaert gets it to the mat, it's probably going to be a wrap. As he only needs to get one takedown. The question is, can he get it there? I'm going to side with no. I could definitely see him getting it there though. So this is a no bet for me. I do like Michael Achek to get a knockout at some point. So it's either going to be knockout by Michael or a submission by Mershart. Um, but I see it staying standing, um, and I lean his way. It's a no bet for me though. And then we've got Sakara versus Nolan. This is one of the added fights. He just fought on Contender Series on Tuesday, and he had a nasty kick up the center to the guy's gut that basically just the guy just went down like a bag of potatoes, and he couldn't get back up and continue. They called it immediately. He's got some pretty good hands, you know. His only downfall, I would say, he does keep his hands a little low, but if he's going against someone that can wrestle, that'll actually help him. I don't. I think this fight here is 100% a squash match. I think it's a 100% setup fight. Let's get him in the UFC real fast. Let's get him a victory. Let's get him in the win column, and make him feel good about himself, and then give him someone a little bit harder. So I think he's gonna knock him out. Personally, I don't. It's a no bet for me. But if you find plus money on a first round knockout or a under 1.5 round with a knockout, I would definitely hit it. And then our next fight is going to be Elliott versus Asakura. Elliott can be a little tricky, but he hasn't fought in almost 2 years. He's going on almost 40 years old. We got Asakura, who this will be his second UFC fight. His first fight was against Pantoja, so I mean, we can't really knock him for losing to Pantoja. I mean, Pantoja's so good, and I think Asakura is actually pretty good. Elliott is more than likely going to try and grapple, and as long as Asakura keeps us on the feet, and I'm pretty sure that he does, I think he finds a knockout at some point. I could see a knee up the center, a kick, something nasty like that to knock him out. But I like Asakura. And once again, I don't have any money on it. It's just a hard lean. And then we've got Jared Cannonier versus MVP. This could be one of the most boring fights on the card. And I'm hoping that this records properly, because my screen has actually froze like 3 or 4 times while I've been recording this today for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it's my computer or my internet or what, but it's been kind of funky. So hopefully it comes out okay. If it doesn't, I apologize. But anyways, back to this. We got Cannonier versus Page. This could be a boring ass fight. The way that Page fights, it's so unorthodox, and he's always moving. He's always feinting or moving his arms or doing some funky ass shit, and he's hard to get to. He's constantly moving. He's hard to get to. I mean, he's had 3 fights in the UFC. 3 fights. 15 rounds of fights. He's got 100 significant strikes so far. That's it, 100. So he's averaging just under 7 significant strikes per 5 minutes. That's crazy. Or wait, no. 7 significant strikes per round, I think. If he's got 115 rounds. So yeah, I mean 15 divided by 100 is roughly 7, So that's not a lot. His significant prop Strike prop is set at like 43.5. I'm not touching it. I mean, I know some people that wanted to bet the over, and I'm like, I'm not touching it. I did use Jared Cannonier's 20 plus as a parlay piece. I think he's going to get 20 plus because I think his I think I think the biggest pathway to victory for Cannonier as an underdog here is to try to wrestle, try and grapple with him, get some ground and pound, get some significant strikes from the top. Um, if Jared can wrestle in this fight, he's live to beat him, and he's tough. And I don't see him knocking Page out either, and I don't see Page knocking him out. I like the over 2.5 a lot, and as a dog, I do lean Cannonier. It's a no bet for me, but if you're gonna put money on him, I don't blame you at all because it would be dog or pass. And then our next fight, we got Neal versus Prates. Probably my second favorite fight on the card. A lot of people are going to be on Prates' knockout prop. I'm not going to be. I think Neal is a tough bastard. I think Neal can take some shots. Even in his last fight where he got submitted standing up, but man, he was getting blasted on the feet. And he'll like get blasted for 15, 20, 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden he comes firing back. Like if he didn't get submitted on his feet, he would have never gone out. I mean, he wasn't going to get knocked out, even though there was a couple times it looked like he might have. But I think Neal's tough. I think Prates is really good. I think he's the real deal. I think he's really good on his feet. He's got great combos, you know. And I think the part about Prates, he's smart. He's gonna go in there with a game plan, and he's gonna have his fighter all calculated down on what he's got to do in order to be successful to win. He's just a really good technician as a boxer, if that makes sense. Um, and I see him being the minute winner. I see him having slightly more volume. I could actually see both of these fighters going over on their significant strikes. But my favorite play in this fight is this right here. And it's going to be Carlos Prates over 47.5 significant strikes minus 115 on DraftKings. I've been waiting for it to come out on other books, and it actually opened up on Bet Rivers at 49.5. So DraftKings is the best one to get it at. I don't. I actually don't mind you doing a small ladder on this. I wouldn't ladder it up to 100, but I could see him getting 60, 65, somewhere's around there. So I like that a lot. That's one of my singles. And then the next fight, we've got Murphy versus Pico. We've been waiting for Pico's entrance into the UFC, coming over from Bellator. I'm not touching anyone from the Bellator anymore. Even though there's a lot of hype on this kid, he's supposed to be great. He's supposed to be dynamic. He's supposed to have some killer knockouts. He's supposed to be a great wrestler. I got to believe it. I got to see it first. I do lean him to get the victory, but against Murphy, come on. Murphy ain't no slouch. Murphy's undefeated also. It's not like this is a setup fight. This is a good contested fight. So even if Pico loses, it doesn't mean he's a fraud. It doesn't mean he doesn't have a great career. I mean, the loser of this fight is still going to have a great career and still going to end up being a ranked MMA fighter at some point in their career. I am leaning with Pico. I'm leaning towards it going over, but I'm not betting it at all. And then our last fight of the night. We've got direct Plessis versus Chimaev. I bet on Chimaev the entire week. And the more I listen to people, which I shouldn't do, the more I start questioning myself a little bit. I still think he's better. I think on the feet it's pretty even. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me and say it's not. I mean, I think the biggest thing that DDP has is he's a dog. He's tough. He's tough as nails. He always just finds ways to win. But man, Chimaev is just that good. I mean, a lot of people are saying it's early or nothing for him. And once you see my wager, you're going to wonder why I'm on Chimaev. But I honestly think he could win a decision here. I think he could win the first 3 rounds. Or he could get a submission in the first 3 rounds. But I put 2 units on the fight to go over 2.5 rounds at a plus 100. Now, I will admit, me being a degenerate the way that I am, I more than likely will hedge this. I more than likely will put a sprinkle on second or third round submission at a plus 500, I think it is. It's either a plus 400 or a plus 500. I can actually look it up really quick, I think. That'll way, because I don't see it ending early if it's not him. Like if it's Du Plessis winning, it's not going to be early. So I've got here we go. Yeah, second or third round sub plus 500. I'm going to put a sprinkle on that. And I found 3 plays that I'm going to contact FanDuel and ask them about them. And because my question to FanDuel is going to be, if it doesn't make it to the third round, do these props count? And here's what they are. I'm just going to read them off. I've got round 3, significant. These are significant strikes by both fighters in the round. So these prices that I'm going to read off are all 15 plus significant strikes. Third round, if both fighters have 15 plus significant strikes, plus 550. Fourth round, both fighters that have 15 plus significant strikes, plus 700. Fifth round, both fighters that have 15 plus significant strikes, plus 900. You only have to get one of those 3 right to profit money. And actually, if you get the round 5 one right, you're going to, at minimum, 3 times your money. Minimum. Because that's a plus 900. And then if you get all 3 of them right, you're going to, that's like a plus 2,100 parlay altogether, basically. Adding all 3 of them up. Now, if I end up, what I'm going to ask FanDuel is, if the fight ends in the second round, does this wager get voided? If it doesn't, it's going to affect how much I put on it. If it gets voided, I'll probably do like between $5 to $10 a piece. If they don't get voided, then I'm only going to do like a few dollars a piece. So those are my plays for UFC 319. I'm going to pull up my... Okay, these are my 3 singles. And I'm going to go to... Man, I wanted to go to the big board, but I can't find it. Oh, there it is. So I've got the DDP versus Chimaev fight over 2.5 rounds plus 100. I saw that at like a plus 106 last night. Um, it is falling though. DraftKings is a minus 115. Then I got Carlos Prates significant strikes over 47.5 on DraftKings, and then the Barboza close fight to end a unanimous decision at a plus 120. Those are my three singles. And then I've got, there we go. Man, this is like really weird today. It's running really slow today for some reason. Everything's like pausing, taking time. So this is my first parlay. This is probably my most. I like this parlay just as much as my alternate round prop parlay, and my round prop parlays is where I've made my money. I like Chase Hooper by submission/decision, and then Prates on the money line, plus 114. I like that a lot. I mean, I've played it a couple different ways. And then I like this one too. Silva Barboza over 1.5 rounds. Neil Prates start round 2. DDP Chimaev start round 2. Plus 113. I love that. I love that parlay. If it comes down to the last one, you could always hedge it if you wanted to. And then my last parlay is on FanDuel. I've got Neil for 20 plus strikes. Prates for 30 plus significant strikes. Asakura for 20 plus significant strikes. And Cannonier for 20 plus significant strikes. I fought with myself to go with more legs to get greedy. And then I was like, nope, I'm going to stop it right here. Plus 111, boosted to plus 144. Unfortunately, FanDuel hates me, and my limits are $10 for the boost. So I did the $10 on the plus 144, and then did the remainder on the plus 111. So that's what I got for those. I did have one other parlay that I did not include. I should have included it, but I didn't. It was kind of like an early card parlay, but I didn't want to do too much. And I can name that one off. And that was going to be Lupi Godinez plus 7.5, which means she only has to win one round from one judge, and that's it. Then, actually, never mind. I can't even do it because it was going to include battle. So I can't even do it. So that stinks. Sorry about that. Yeah, so you can never mind that last parlay. I totally forgot battle was not on anymore. Yeah. So that's UFC 319 picks, best bets. That's my analysis, my thoughts on it. If anyone has any questions on significant strikes, takedowns, money lines, over unders, it doesn't matter. Shoot me a message. I do have one last play. I almost forgot. And here we go. I actually wrote it down. Oh, it's scrolling across the bottom. So we have PFL that starts in less than 2 hours. And this fight here probably won't happen till like 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, though, I'm guessing. And this is Liz Carmouche versus Jenna Bishop. I will tell you this, I've already got money on the over on this fight. I got it at over 4.5 rounds at a minus 106 last night. The over 4.5 is now like a minus 130. If you prefer to bet the over 4.5, go ahead. But I've got Liz Carmouche Jenna Bishop over 3.5 rounds, and Rabadonov, which is going to be the fight right afterwards, fight not to go the distance. That's a plus 120. If you want to do him to win inside the distance, it's almost the same odds. It's not that much of a difference. So that's why I just did fight not to go the distance. And I did those two together plus 120. That's all I'm playing for that. I did use the Matt, I think it's Matt Barzell. I did use his fight on the over also on another parlay. So if anyone's looking for something to play tonight, and play one of those, or shoot me a message and ask me if there's anything else that I like, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But I think I've rambled on long enough. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we cash some UFC 319 tickets together.